first presentation, I'm going to share an experience with you guys, which I had occurred in my PhD interview time. In JNCSR, a professor asked me as his first question that tell me one biological experiment which you think was really difficult to come up with. Now, I was not prepared for this question. I was thinking that something will come like a replication or how is transcription done, what this bacteria, that bacteria. But an experiment which was difficult to come up with, to name an experiment. Now, when you are reading about experiments, when you are doing experiment as a PhD student, you will think some experiments, you will read some experiment, later think that I may have come up with this idea. I could have designed this experiment. For example, Mesenstein and Stahl experiment was such an experiment for me, the semi-conservative nature of DNA replication got proved. But there was one experiment which till now in my 5th year of PhD, I still think that I may not have come up with such an idea. Because the idea was such simple, elegant, and yet it was so difficult. So let's talk about the idea. The experiment was the Luria-Delbruck experiment in 1953, done by Salvador Luria and Max Delbruck. Now, let me talk about the theory of that experiment. We all know that E. coli grows on LB agar. We also know that there are bacteriophages which can kill this bacteria, that is E. coli. There was one phage named as T1 phage. Now, if you are plating E. coli on a bacterial plate, LB plate, where already T1 phage is present, no E. coli will grow because all this phage will lyse them and kill them. But even in that scenario, scientists saw that there were E. coli colonies which were surviving even in the presence of this stress environment, in the presence of T1 phage. Now, why was that? How was that happening? Because of mutation. It was 1940s. All people already knew about mutation. Okay. Now, what was mutation? Mutation was a mistakes in DNA. These mistakes can give a gain in the function of the organism or even in the loss, even in the death of that organism. Now, how the mutation is coming up, how bacteria, how any organism, any cell is acquiring the mutation, that was yet to be understood. But there were two schools of thought. One was Lamarckism. Lamarckism was saying that mutation was environment. Only when the stress comes, cells will, as a response, cell will come up with a mutation. The other school of thought was Darwinism. Darwinism said that any cell can acquire a mutation randomly, spontaneously, at any point of time in the lifespan of the species. It has nothing to do with environment, though later on point we know that stress also plays some role in mutation, but at those point of time, the two schools of thought was Lamarckism, that is environment induced mutation, another was Darwinism, that is spontaneous and random mutation. Okay. Now this was a theory. Now let's talk about the experiment. In the experiment, Luria took one bacterial mother culture and from them he subcultured many bacterial flasks containing media. For the ease of understanding, let's say he subcultured 10 flasks. And then he plated all of them on LB plates which were containing T1 bacteriophage, and they waited to see the number of resistors coming from each flask. Now, let's talk about the hypothesis of this experiment. Now, as I have told you that there are two schools of thought, one is Lamarckism and another is Darwinism. Now, if Lamarckism was correct, that will mean that all the flasks which have never before experienced this stress will be the first time to come up across this environment, and now they can induce mutation. All these different flasks, from that whenever they have come to contact, if there were 1 million bacteria, one bacteria could have gained a function of mutation and can produce a colony. If there were 2 million, there would be 2, 3 million, 3. But still, all the number of colonies would be comparable. But if random mutation generation theory was correct, that means Darwinism was correct, that will mean that any of these flasks can have any bacteria which had gained a mutation which will let them survive in this stress environment, in this adverse situation, in the selection pressure, they have gained that mutation randomly. And because they have gained that mutation at any point of time in the past, 30 generation back, 2 generation back, or even now, different flasks will be having different number of registers when they will be plated on the T1 bacteriophage containing agar. Okay, so this was the two hypotheses. Now this was the experiment. Experiment was designed, experiment was done, but the amount of data, the nature of data which Luria collected was so random, was huge, and not only that, was so skewed. Now, to analyze that data, he was helpless. He was not able to find any pattern. Then he called his good friend Max Delbruck, and he designed a mathematical model which finally proved that generation of mutation is random. Not only that, that also meant that though stress played a big role, but at any point of time in history of any organism, from a small bacteria to a large chimpanzee, any living organism can gain any mutation randomly and step forward in the evolution through and against the natural selection pressure. And for this experiment, they both had shared a Nobel Prize. And this is the reason that experiment always stuck with me. And once we had done in our lab to try this experiment, and it was really difficult. The analyzing the data, doing this was really difficult. So the execution was difficult, the idea was difficult to come, and so was the analysis. So this is the reason I thought that it was the most difficult experiment to come in biology. So although I know there are tons of experiments which are even difficult, so I would really like you guys to tell me some experiments which you think was very difficult to come up with and why. So that will be my time. Bye.